Hi, Chris Badel here with Badel Security with another installment of our CISO Intangibles series. Today it's about communication and the role that that plays in the CISO position in banks and credit unions. Communication is often overlooked in the CISO position, and I think it goes back to the days of information security and IT being in kind of their own silo back in the day. They had their own communication, they had their own language, they used jargons and acronyms that really nobody else understood. And any communication outside of that silo to other areas of the bank were pretty minimal. But we know that any credit union or bank that wants to move their culture forward to be more strategic with their information security has to have a CISO in-house or outsourced that can communicate the threats, the risks, and do it in a way that other areas of the bank understand. So why is communication so important? Well, for starters, from a regulatory standpoint, you've heard the saying, if you didn't document it, it didn't happen, right? Well, we've found that there's a gradient to that, right? Just documenting it might be one thing, but you can really get a lot more mileage out of that documentation if it's well written and the examiners can understand it. Two, we find that communication to the board and management is so important as well. The threats, the risks, the controls, asking for money for the budget. If you can't explain the concepts and terminology in a way that other people can understand, these things are going to be really tough to do, and you're not going to be successful as a CISO. Lastly, explaining to users what they can and can't do on systems is great, but also explaining to them from an overarching standpoint what the strategy is, what the bank and credit union face as far as risks go, and what their part is in securing the customer information in that bank or credit union. So what are some key points to being a good communicator as a CISO? Well, first, I say you should be concise. Second, you need to avoid acronyms. You need to avoid jargon, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Just get it out of there and talk in English. I think you need to explain each concept with the end user or the recipient of that message in mind. So craft the message with the recipient in mind. And then lastly, you need to be respectful and courteous in every message, whether it be written or oral. And I always tell my team, it's our job to know information security. It's not their day-to-day job to know that. Yes, they play a part in it. Yes, they need to be aware, but we need to be educators. We need to be respectful, and we need to be patient when we're communicating these things to our end users. I hope you found this message helpful. I hope you found this video informative, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks.